We're going to get rolling. My name is Mark Briggs. I'm the District Athletic Director, and I want to welcome everyone back. I hope everybody had a great summer, filled with some great family time. Hopefully you had some great adventures, and it turns around pretty quick. We're getting back after it tomorrow for high school. I know junior high's been full swing already. This is a brand new year. Looking forward to some brand new things. Some great things from our kids. I'm one of the most blessed people in the school district, being an athletic director. It's really, honestly, it's a dream job for me. I went to school here, and here I am. I'm still here after 25 years, going on my 26th, and I'm very fortunate to have the parents that we've had over my tenure here as a coach, teacher, and athletic director. Truly blessed in this district and the things that they do for our student athletes. So tonight, the objective is for me to spend no more than 30 minutes, hopefully less, just giving you some tools to put in the toolbox. That is my only goal tonight, is to give you some things that maybe you didn't know before you came in to help you through. The PowerPoint that we're looking at this evening, everybody should have received an email, several of them probably, but tonight at 6 o'clock I had another one programmed to go out to your email, and some text messages hopefully went through also that you can click on the link for the slideshow and look at on your phones, because I'm going to move pretty quick through it. I'm going to hit the spots where I think they're truly important, but what I wanted to do with the PowerPoint is give you something that you can look at all year long. It has all the resources built into it. Anything that you could possibly want to know is built into the slideshow. Everything from the survival guide to this information, some other things we'll cover. So that's the scan code is outside in the foyer, and then right here, that's where the PowerPoint lives, and I'm going to move past that, so you might not have time to really hit it. So our website, roxannashells.com, all the schedules are there. If you're in the PowerPoint, you can click on it, it'll take you to them. The problem with it is we're migrating from an old system to a new one, and this has not been a real smooth process so far. The company that's doing it, it's doing a lot of schools at the same time, and I found several errors. I've instructed our coaches to send the schedules out using their communication tools that they use to communicate with parents. So when they send you their schedule via Remind 101, whatever the tool is that they're using, that will be the schedule you rely on, at least for the next 2 weeks. Because I don't have a lot of confidence in mine right now as they migrate all of their information over from the old company that we were using last year. Just contact information if you ever have any questions. You can refer back to this and reach our superintendent, principal, high school assistant principals here, Adam Miller tonight, Mrs. Deb Kay. Her final hurrah this year. She's retiring every year. She's back there. She's the best. If you guys ever have any questions, get you the right people. Junior high contacts for any junior high parents. We have some, obviously got high school and junior high, and some are here tonight for junior high athletics. This is our coaches directory. If you click that link, it'll take you to every coach we have in the district. That's the most updated that I have at this point. You can contact them tonight if you have questions. Ask them when tryouts are, what's happening, first day of practice, obviously for everybody tomorrow for high school, but it's not too late to join some junior high activities. Baseball and softball have had their tryouts already, but I know cross country, junior high girls basketball's coming up, so it's good to check in with them. This is social probation. Essentially everything up there, if your child, student athlete is on social probation, even though they're on that, they can still attend sporting events. But kind of read through that. It talks about what the high schools, this is for high school athletes, what this looks like. Just about our mission. Some of the philosophies, just kind of what we believe in at the lower class level, freshman and JV. It's a developmental stage. Like we use that to develop athletes. Winning's always important. Kids want to win. Parents want to see their kids win. I'm not going to say that's not important, but at that level there, that's the things we focus on. And then the varsity level, kind of some of the goals that we have there. And playing time is never equal at that level, not guaranteed. Coaches do a good job. Our coaches do a communicating your child student athlete's role all the time. And that role changes. It might start off as a certain role early in the year, and as the year goes on, that progresses. And it's our coach's job to communicate that to our athletes. And my philosophy and our coach's philosophy is that our athletes need to communicate those things back to the parents. It's really helpful when the athlete talks to the parent about what their role on the team is coming from the coach. Coaches aren't doing their jobs if they're not communicating their athletes' roles. This is our limitation policy for team membership. Just when we have tryouts, some levels, some sports have too many kids, and that's a great problem to have, but sometimes when that happens, you only have 50, you can only address 15 kids at the varsity level. This is where this policy kicks in. Junior high level, they keep 15 kids in some sports, some they keep 12, 10. That stuff's communicated at tryouts, just so you kind of know what that policy and what it looks like. Physicals are required. You got to register and you got to have physical. And there's really a non-negotiable on both. When you don't register, you're not signing off on several forms that cover not only you, but us, school district, with liability. It's not just a sign up to play for sports. It's to have the athletic trainer treat your child. It's concussion protocol. It's all the things. And you guys know when you guys register your son or daughter, there's a ton to check off on. And that's why we have that process. So make sure, along with being registered, child has a physical. They cannot practice without it. There's no exceptions. So school attendance. Be at school by 10:30 to play that day. If they leave sick, they cannot play. So if you come to school and you decide to leave after 10:30, you cannot participate. If you're not feeling good in the morning and you come before 10:30, you're good. If you have an ortho, dermatologist, some kind of doctor's note, you can play. That's excused. It's predetermined, pre-approval. Death in the family, obviously, those kinds of things that when you communicate with the office, myself, Jason, Adam, Mrs. Palmer, and we have a heads up and we have communication that works. And then we have honorable tardiness. If it becomes a problem with a kid showing up every day late, even though they show up at 10:25, and it happens all the time, we'll have conversations with that student athlete because school's first. We don't want to miss them the first 2 hours every day and playing the game. Sometimes at the high school level, they figure that out, and they skate by, so we have those conversations with athletes. Just some practice expectations. Obviously, at the high school level, it's a little bit different than junior high, but it's still the same. You know, it's like we expect our kids to be at practice every day. We understand that process changes as kids evolve. They start off young, not sure what it's about yet, not sure what commitment totally is in all circumstances, but as they get older at the high school level, expectations are at practice every day, unless they're sick, or they have something wrong in their family, or some kind of prearranged absence. Again, just talks about like trainer excuse, like we talked, and Katie will talk a little bit tonight about that, touch on it. Just some things that happen through if your student athlete's injured, obviously we have a process with our trainer that will kick in and she'll treat your child. And there may be days where they can't practice because they're injured. And it talks about mental health days. Just coaches can excuse athletes for the following reasons. We have college visits that occur, and this is kind of one that comes up often. You know, anytime your child's got a college visit, that is excused. The key is to communicate that excuse prior to the day of. Make sure the coach understands that they're going to go visit a college. All of our coaches understand that. It's just when the bomb drops the day of that creates the problem, because coaches are trying to rearrange their team to fill different roles and voids that they have, especially at the varsity level. And obviously, they'll be a varsity player if they're going to college. Academic assistance, family business, and so on. Talks more about practice guidelines. Eligibility, we do a weekly check every week. 2Fs or more at the high school levels and eligible to play the following week. So not if we run on Friday, if there's a game on Friday night, Saturday, they're good to go. The next week, they're not. Junior highs win or more, and we follow the IHSA and the IESA guidelines that they put in play for our school district. We do run our check on Tuesday, and then we run another one on Thursday. So Tuesday's a learning day. So Tuesday's proactive. We run that check. If there's 8 kids on there, we tell our coaches, hey, here's a list. The coaches get all the same things that we get in our office, and they're supposed to have conversations with the student athlete, make sure they go to the classroom and get extra help. That way, when the final run is ran on Thursday, we know. Like, the kids have some time to get their grades up before they leave for the week. The question comes up a lot is, well, I got my grades up. It's the following week now. They're ineligible, and on Wednesday, I have all my grades up. Can I play? I'm good to go. Like, my grades are good. No, you can't play that entire week no matter what happens with your grades. It helps the following week. If they have 3 in a row, 3 consecutive weeks in a row, in most cases they're dismissed from the team. There are some special circumstances, but in most, and the reason for that is the obvious. They need to make sure they take care of their grades. Sports are supposed to motivate kids to do better in the classroom, and if they have 3 in a row, they need to spend more time in the classroom. That way, they're taking care of their grades, which is the most important. Semester eligibility, high school 3Fs or 3 or more Fs, you're eligible the next semester. So that happens sometimes. So first semester, 3 or more. The second semester, you're eligible the entire semester. If it happens second semester, you're ineligible the entire fall and winter seasons first semester, unless you had summer school to fix it. Transportation, we want all our kids to ride the bus to and from games. There are exceptions that they need to release their parents or someone else. When you register your athlete, this is one of these liability things again, that takes care of you. You're signing that form where if you want someone else that's an adult to drive your kid home, you can do that if that form is signed. It's got to be approved through the coach. And all coaches have a sign-out sheet still. Even though you've registered your athlete, you still have to check in with your coach because we have to do a head count when we get in the bus. It's super important, though, for all of our kids to go to and from because the obvious reasons. I mean, they come together. There's that camaraderie. There's going home also. It's a special moment for a lot of kids. There's some big moments there. There are some other moments, though, with you as a parent and your child that kind of trump that. And that stuff happens. You just communicate with your coaches. Social media, I think without going into all this stuff, is real simple. When you use social media, use it for the right reasons. And the reason why I say that is, I always bring up the example, if we have a parent that is on social media blasting one of our coaches or administrators or teachers, when that kid comes inside their gym, in the gym, or on the field between the lines with their coach, that kid has some anxiety. There's no kid that does not. When their parent is on social media, they're wondering, what does my coach think about what my dad said? And the kids are saying it to their peers are talking about it. It's uncomfortable. So that's my advice, is think before you do it, because when you do it, there's a trickle-down effect there, and it does impact the whole entire environment. We use the word family a lot, but inside the gym, between the lines in the field, those are important moments. And our coaches, they know that stuff's going to happen, and we're all human, and it may bother them, but they're never going to penalize athletes for parents. But just think about what your kid might feel going into the next practice when that happens. This is always a really big one that is probably the toughest one. Kind of got to know your role. You can be a player, you can be a coach, spectator, official, you can only choose one. And this is a tough one because when you're in the stands and you're vested in your kids' athletic career and their lives, it's extremely difficult. It's hard. Been there, done that myself. Ladder communication, real simple. Head coach, myself, principal. If you have a child that plays for me in basketball and you're not comfortable with this process, obviously you go right to Mr. D or Mr. Miller and have a conversation with him. That's what we want. We want our parents to feel comfortable with some of the things that they feel like are important to them. One thing that is not something that we have conversations about, which is playing time. That's something that every time that we typically have issues, most of the time it's all wrapped around that. And it can be frustrating. But there are other things too. There are other things that happen throughout a season that take place. That's where you follow this chain of command here, and it will really help. It'll help the whole process with your student athlete. Always have a conversation with the coach first, and not after games right away. Wait till the next day. Don't send an email that night. We all know what happens when you wake up the next day. It's a little different situation, sometimes. So try to follow that to the best of your ability, and it'll be great. Just talks about coaches' communication, what's important. These things are important to me, important to our coaches. Talk a little about what parents communicate to coach. When you ask yourself, like some of the things that come up, like some coaches may not communicate schedules real well for the week, like when are practices. Those are things you can have a conversation with coach about. We're good, right, Adam? It's trying to fix itself. Maybe if you just hit the... Inappropriate things to discuss, personnel decisions, strategy, play calling. Talk about other student athletes, contacting the coach at places that may not be in the best interest of both parties. The coach will give the protocols to the players in case communication is desired. I think that's, again, that coach and athlete communication piece that should happen first before parents even start having communication. And again, it's just not best to talk to coach after games. It never works out well for both people. Again, appropriate things to discuss mentally, physically, things that treatment of those two, ways to help your child improve, and just some concerns you might have about your child's behavior. Maybe those are something you can partner with our coaches to help improve things on both ends, between the lines at home. So no contact, IHSA, this is kind of one of the things we talked about tonight at our coaches roundtable. Our coaches met tonight, today at 3 o'clock, and we had some really good conversations about some things we can do a little bit better. There is a no contact period that we have to follow for the IHSA, and it's this past week here. It's always a week before the season starts. The reason why that period exists is the IHSA wants that whole week, families to take advantage of it, go on vacations, do things with their family, just step away from athletics for a week. So we have built in an extra week. So we call it the Roxana Dead Week. And that week there that we had was the week prior to this last week here. So we give 2 weeks essentially. Roxana and we have IHSA. So when you guys plan your family vacations, especially if you have a varsity athlete, someone that participates at the varsity level, high school level, because it doesn't make a difference if they're a varsity player or even in the class. Our coaches are spending their 20 days that they have through the IHSA to develop athletes, to develop what they want their system to be for the following year. And so we're talking about maybe moving our Roxana week to a different week in the summer. Right now, this is not the week, but we've talked about June 29th through, say, July 5th next week. We have not set that in stone. But as we have conversations, maybe this helps because, when you're trying to plan family vacations, sometimes you're ready to go somewhere in the middle of the summer and not at the very end. We don't have to give 2 weeks. We want to give 2 weeks. We want our families to have some time together. So those are the things that we're going to try to work on throughout the year, and I will be sending communication out to this about this sometime early fall. That way you guys start planning your trips. This is where you register for sports. If you click that link in this slide, it will take you to our registration for high school and junior high. Sorry, those are sports scheduled, my bad. The next one, sorry, Linktree. Again, we have technology all over the place, but when things start to fail, me on our hub here at Roxana, when it comes to the Arbiter or our schools, the companies that we use, we do house everything in Linktree, so you can click that link. It will take you to all the documents that you could possibly need throughout the year. We continue to add to those each and every year. Where's the athlete? The top link on this was for high school, and then you got the bottom one for junior high. There's two separate portals to use for registration. Family passes. So if you want a family pass, this is where you purchase them. It's a pretty good deal. I think it's $90 for the entire year. So you can get up to 5, I don't have it in front of me, but 4 or 5 family or members in your household. So you can look at that, take advantage of that. It's electronic, so you can just click it and pay. If you have a son or daughter that wants to participate at the next level, it's wise to get on the eligibility center for NCAA. That information is there. You click on it, it will guide you through it. It's one of the steps you have to take to play in the NCAA. I've had a lot of questions about this. We have video boards inside and outside football field, and we have them in the gymnasium, and we have ads of our seniors or juniors, sophomores, for anybody in high school, and you can purchase those ads by using, there's a link here at the top, and there's another scan code there. This company here turns it around in about 3 or 4 days, and then you just load them into the system, and so you go to a basketball game in pregame or halftime, you'll see your son or daughter up there. They do a fabulous job of making, it's really a neat company. They do a tremendous job of just kind of branding your son or daughter. School Spirit Store, I'm going to send that out tonight or early tomorrow morning. This is through Schwarzkopf. It's one of our best ones that we have. She's got some good stuff on there, so I'll send you guys a link. I think it's the most reasonably priced one. We don't make a whole lot of money off of it. We just want our parents to have some apparel to wear the games. So if you want to take advantage of that, just click the link. I think it closes on the 18th. I'm going to bring up Heather Harris. She's our Booster Club president. Mrs. Moore. Then we'll talk a little about the Booster Club, how you can get involved.
Good evening. I'm Heather Harris, and this is Jen Moore. We are the leaders of the Junior High, Senior High Booster Club. Those of you that don't know, we take care of all the concessions for all the sports for high school. So in the fall, football, volleyball. In the winter, girls and boys basketball and wrestling, and then boys baseball in the spring. And that is our main source of fundraising, and all of our money goes right back into the kids. So anything the school can't cover for these teams, the coaches or Mr. Briggs will come to us, and then we hardly ever say no. We always give everything we take in, we give right back to the kids. Our first meeting of the school year is going to be Sunday, the 24th at 5 o'clock. We're going to meet at the football concession stand, and then we're also going to tour the new inside concession stand when we're done out there. We would really love, if you're interested, for you to show up. In 2 to 3 years, we're going to be gone. Our kids will be graduated, and we definitely need 1 or 2 people that would like to maybe start shadowing us over the next couple years so they can take over. I know it probably sounds like a daunting task, but if you've always wanted to help but didn't know how to get involved, the Booster Club's a perfect way to do that. You can see me or Jen, and we'll be glad to let you hang around us during the fall and watch us, what we do, and see if it'd be something you'd be interested in. And Jen's got something too. Okay, I have a couple of disclaimers. I run the concession schedule for all seasons, except for baseball. Heather takes care of that. The first thing to the parents, I don't make the schedule on who works what day. Okay, please don't get mad at me and say, why did you schedule this on that day? That's that gentleman over there. It's not me. So that's number one. I know I get a lot of feedback every season. I know you guys got the schedule the same day I got it. If you don't have it, you can reach out to Mr. Briggs here, and so you know what days you're going to work, so you can pass it on to your parent contact. There's been a lot of times where I reach out to the parents, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. That would be very helpful. And to the parents that decide to step up, if you want to, you can go right up to your coach after this night and say, hey, I'll take this job. It's not hard. I will contact you a week to 10 days before your scheduled date as a reminder. I will give you guidelines on how many workers you need. I will answer any questions you will have, what time you need to be there, and there will always be a Booster Club representative there to help you out. We will help unlock the doors, get you set up, and we come and check on you several times a night. So it's not like we're saying, here's your keys and you move on. So we are always there. So if you want to, it's just time. It's just a few hours that you and your athlete will show up and work your scheduled night. Also to the parents, we really want the kids to be present. We use our money that we raise for them, whether it's warm-ups or equipment, training equipment or whatever. The kids, it's a really good lesson for them to learn, that they're working for something. We do require the adults to run the money box. Kids get distracted. They want to give this free to their friend and whatever. It all costs us money, which is one reason why we ask the parents run the box. But the kids can get the drinks, they can get the candy, they can restock. There's a lot of times I go in there and I check on it and all the parents are doing the work and the kids are on their phones. You guys can run it how you want, but we really would want the kids to work. It's a good lesson for them. If there is a conflict, coaches and or parents, whoever's in charge, just let me know as soon as possible. He looks at 6 different schedules and things get rescheduled, matches come up, whatever. Just let me know as soon as possible. Hey, we have a bowling match on that day. I will try and flip it around for you. There's open dates if you want to work extra. On the list at Booster Club, we have to work, so not only do we have to do our part, we have to do extra. So if you guys want to just come and work, hey, do you have any open days? We will take students and adults on any open day. Now, community service hours, the kids can earn community service hours as long as it's not their regularly scheduled night to work. If the soccer team is there to work a football game, the kids will not earn the hours on that day. But if there's a lot of times we reach out on social media saying, hey, we're looking for workers or whatever, if they choose to work that day, out of the goodness of their heart, they can get community service hours for them. Just have them bring the paper with them. We'll sign off on it right then and there. Oh, tournaments. We are also coming up, we're running the volleyball concessions for their tournament the first week. We will need extra workers, please, and thank you. You can reach out to me and Heather, and we'll set a schedule when it gets a little bit closer. The holiday tournament, Mr. Briggs is always looking for extra volunteers. That takes a lot off on the parents that are trying to be there and watch their own kid participate. I do it a lot. My son's only a junior, so for like senior nights, and her son plays football, I try to work as much as possible during football season because I want her to be a parent. I don't want her to have to worry about concessions. So just like during the volleyball tournament and the basketball tournament, you wouldn't want that to happen to your own kid. You wouldn't want to miss their activity because you have to be in the concession stand. So if we all take our turn, it's not a lot of work. So we're just looking for help and just communication. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything you do.
Appreciate you.
Who would we work in this? Now, this is not the finished product, but this is our new concession stand, and this is probably 4 or 5 days ago, so I don't have an updated picture, but it's coming along well. There'll be a TV on the right side that have a menu to order from, not to physically order from, but you'll see the menu. The concession is going to be awesome. Much needed upgrade for the district, and super pumped about it. I think the most intimidating thing for parents from all the stuff that you listen to, nobody wants to join the Booster Club because they think they're going to work concessions every single night, and that's not the case. Our system that we have, kids, the teams work, we just need a parent liaison to take 1 or 2 nights, and it doesn't be the same person during that season, and anywhere else that you can pitch in. I think one of my goals that I had when I took over 5 years ago, man, we're going to grow the Booster Club, we're going to make it great. And it's hard because everybody's got busy lifestyles, there's a ton of events, a lot going on. Super thankful for everybody that does help out. Our Booster Club buys more than what I can put on a slideshow. It's more than I've seen over the years. I've been working here over 25 years. This group of people steps up all the time. Our stuff in the weight room, all the technology we have down there, the Booster Club buys it. Rapsodo for baseball, a lot of things are over the head. A lot of people that don't have a child playing certain sports, but there's not a sport they don't hit. If there's a request, they take care of it. So super thankful for them. Try to think about maybe stepping into a different role. Maybe you get something delegated to you that you really like, or maybe you can delegate. Next, I want to bring up our athletic trainer, Mrs. Katie Brandt. Mrs. Katie was hired last year mid-season. She's just going to share a little bit of information about what the process looks like from her lens. If you guys have some questions for her, we can take them tonight, just a couple questions, but overall I think she's going to cover mostly everything.
So hi, I'm Katie Brandt. I started up here this past February. I went to school for my undergraduate degree at Edwardsville, SAU Edwardsville. I've got an undergraduate degree in exercise science. I got a master's degree in athletic training up at UIS. I'm certified through, I'm like nationally certified. I'm licensed through Illinois. You know, if I needed it, I got it. It's all done. I'm here. Before I came here, I was at a D2 university where I covered women's lacrosse, football, track, cross country. So I hit the big ones while I was there. So hopefully, you know, I got everything I need to not be too surprised by anything your kids throw at me. So far, we've been doing pretty good, so it's great. But yeah, basically, I'm just here to take care of any sports-related injuries or anything that comes from the kids, whether it's an ankle sprain or a broken wrist or anything like that. I'm at the sporting events. If I'm not at your child's sporting event specifically, I'm at a different one on campus, but I'm easy to get a hold of. Either way, the coaches all have my information to call me, and I'll be over there within 5 to 10 minutes normally. I'm always there. One thing that we have set up this year that Mr. Briggs is great enough to let me get is we have a system called Healthy Roster. Now, when you go to fill out all your information, like you do for your regular liability information, you'll see it on there. It's basically just a system where I can put in all the information for injuries or anything your athlete might have, so that not only can your coaches look at it and have all that information on hand, but you guys are also able to go on. So if you have any questions or you can't remember a certain aspect or you need a doctor's note that was sent in to me for some reason, like you guys all will have the opportunity to have that and to get on there for anything you need. With speaking about doctor's notes, for any time your child goes to the physician, I have to have a note. Even if they go, say everything's totally fine, your kid's ready to go, I have to have something saying that. Not only is it so I know me and your child's physician are on the same page in the aspect of their health, make sure the coaches are all on the same page, it's also part of that liability aspect that Mr. Briggs was talking about. So anything like that, anytime they go, whether it's a sprained ankle, they need an x-ray or anything, I just have to have a note for that. It can even just be a picture that you guys send me. You can even contact me through this new program that we have, kind of like a text message. No big thing. You can send things through me on there. You can ask questions about injuries, see all that information. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's about anything. Does anyone have questions, I guess? I will be around afterwards. And you guys can always email me or anything as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you. All right, before we bring up our guest speaker this evening, we're bringing Mr. Miller here. He's going to talk a little bit about Coach Holler. Tonight, again, is a great opportunity for myself to grow professionally and hear a little bit about Coach Holler and some of his philosophy, and Adam's going to talk a little bit about that.
Thanks, Coach Briggs. Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. What a great crowd. What you just heard from Coach Briggs is obviously very important. It's great as we start a new season here in our school district. Athletics are a big part of what we do through our entire school district. The opportunity to learn about life and to learn about overcoming challenges and all of those things that we do and that we teach every day in our classrooms, we also see out on the court and on the field. It's my privilege tonight to introduce Coach Holler. What he's going to talk about tonight is a great opportunity for us to know a little bit more about what some of our coaches have been doing and a philosophy that has had a lot of success throughout this state and that we are doing here, but you're going to hear from the guy who created it tonight. So he has been a teacher for 35 years. He's an honors chemistry teacher. He's been where our coaches are, not only in the classroom, but he's been an outstanding coach, multi-sport, coaches football, coaches track. He's a 14-time Coach of the Year in track. He has 3 state titles, multiple individual state titles. But he also understands the two sports thing. He's not just a track guy. Coaches freshman football at Plainfield North, where he has I think it's still 39-game freshman winning streak. So all of those things are impressive. Being an honors chemistry teacher, teaching for 35 years, winning state titles, being Coach of the Year, that's all impressive. But Coach Holler developed a system called Feed the Cats that really fits what Mr. Briggs was talking about earlier, the busy life that we all lead now. But how do we still get the work in? How do we get better? How do our kids get better? How do we prepare them to be successful now and at the next level? And he's going to talk about that tonight. So it is my privilege. Let's give a big round of applause and a welcome to Shell Country to Coach Holler. We had you working.
Thank you very much. I'm really proud to be here. I was shown around, and I was so impressed with the weight room, the leaderboard, the commitment to becoming better athletes in all sports. And even though I am a track coach, I'm more of a performance coach. I've spoken in 31 different states and 4 foreign countries. The fact that Roxana High School reached out to me and brought me in, so I think speaks a lot to how much they want to be great. And I think that everything's going in the right direction here. So with no further talk here, let's talk about Feed the Cat. Some sound problems there. Steve Earle's not going to be very happy with me. But the mission statement of Feed the Cats, I hope people see these things and recognize there's some revolutionary things up here. My dad was a 47-year basketball coach, and he always said, we're going to practice so hard the games are going to be easy. Everybody just went like this, like, of course. But now we know that 90% of all injuries come from too much volume in practice, and too much volume in practice detrains athletic traits. Now, I didn't always coach this way until I'm 66 now. Until I was 40, I coached the old way. I coached like my dad coached. I copied successful traditional coaches. That's how things just get handed down year after year after year, and people don't ever change. Coaches, I was intolerant of losing. I was a bad loser, and I thought that was a good thing. I thought we needed to outwork the competition and turn boys into men. It's weird, I've never heard people talk about turning girls into women. But boys into men was a big thing. I believe that the winning team always outworked the losing team, and if you lost, you need to double down to to work twice as hard. And I believe that practice was not supposed to be fun. It was not supposed to be something to look forward to. I really believed it was supposed to be the hell you went through to get to play in the games. But practice is about 90% of the athletic experience. So if kids don't like practice, gosh, they're like 90% negative. So old school coaches basically killed cats. When I talk about cats, I'm talking about athletes. I'm not talking about real cats. I'm talking about cat-like athletes. Fast twitch, fast, explosive. A lot of this came from the military model. World War II veterans came home and they had developed bonds among each other that they could never find in civilian life. Because when men go through really hard things, they grow close together. So they wanted for their boys, they didn't care about their girls. Girls didn't start playing sports till the 70s. But what they wanted for their boys is for their boys to go through some really hard stuff to make them tough and bond together. So all sports were artificially hard. This is a really important tweet by a great sprinter at Purdue. And basically he says, I hate practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I love the track meet. And then on Sunday I'm sore and I hate practice again. That means that 85% of his week he hates. Personally, I don't think you can be good at something that you hate 85% of the time. I believe in education that if 80% of our kids say school sucks, we need to do something about that. We need to make school more likable because kids are good at what they like and they're obsessed with what they love. This was a coach that actually responded to this tweet and he said, I like delivering pain. That's not a feed the cats coach. That's an old school coach for sure. From Hoosiers, Norman Dale says, my practices aren't designed for your enjoyment. That was tweeted out like a million coaches high-fived at the same time. It's like, yeah, we're going to work those kids hard. That's the old school way. That's not the feed the cats way. Now, there's all kinds of videos out there that are not secret videos trying to get the coach fired, but instead the coach was proud of these videos. And this is old school stuff. Come on, man. Wait, push up. Come on, Evan. One great push up. Go. One great jump. Go. Hurry up, Evan. One great. If I was that kid, I would have quit. That was the first day he probably did quit. But that's the way old school used to be. This is a school in Oklahoma. That, they put this out because this is what made them tough, supposedly. I don't think this makes you win any games whatsoever. This is in Georgia. They brought in some Navy SEALs and say, we're going to toughen you up so that you're a better athlete. This does not make a better athlete. This is some school in Texas. Suppose they win a lot of games. I don't think they win because of this. Your football players will not be doing this kind of stuff. What could possibly go wrong? Coaches must lay awake at night thinking what type of torture we can put kids through. That's not good. This is my favorite. We all know as athletes you have to have rock hard abs. No, this guy thought that this was a good thing to put out for America to see why this athletic program is so good. Everybody wants to talk about how Navy SEALs are tough and we want to treat our athletes like Navy SEALs to get them tough. But you know what? These Navy SEALs, if you put them in high heels, 100 feet off the ground, they wouldn't be tough anymore. Think about that. Toughness is task specific. You want to get your football players good at playing football, your volleyball players good at playing volleyball. You don't have to put them through artificial toughness things. Too many college coaches especially say trust the process. They throw a dozen eggs against the wall and they pick up the one that doesn't break and say, see, trust it. Look what happened to this guy. We should not be breaking kids. Your football team needs to have every single player available for their first game and their last game, hopefully the state championship game. Injuries are not acceptable. So if coach is doing so many things wrong, why does everybody still do it? And that's because we are all copycats. We copy the people who went before us. You know, if you read about Barry Bryant and the Junction Boys, he tried to thin out his team to see who was weak and undeserving. Now, the next video, if it doesn't play well, I'm going to skip through it and I'll just explain what it says. Actually, it's not the video yet. The reason why, I need to introduce this, the reason why we grab onto things and don't let go is because of something called anchor bias. Anchor bias is that when we learn, the first thing we learn, we grab a hold of. A lot of time our beliefs are handed down. We inherit our beliefs. And it was a great survival thing. If you think about Cro-Magnon man 30,000 years ago, if you listened to your elders, you probably live longer. And if you lived longer, then you had kids that thought the same way you did. But sometimes we latch onto things that are dumb from our elders.
I hear the British are defending other foreign troops. How will we win?
Okay, the sound quality is not good. Let me explain that a hilarious video where George Washington is saying to his troops that we're going to fight for the American system of measurement. That there's going to be 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet in a yard. And they say, how many yards are in a mile? And he says, nobody knows. So how many feet are in a mile? He says 5,280, a number that's easy to remember. That we're going to measure beer and wine in liters. That we're going to measure milk in pints and quarts. And they say, how many quarts are in a liter? And he said, nobody knows. So sometimes we latch on to things that are dumb. America has the dumbest system of measurement you could possibly have. And that's not unpatriotic to say. The important thing is that we latch on to things sometimes that we shouldn't latch on to. The best part of this video was when the African American guy says, sir, what will happen to people of color? And he says, there will be 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet to the yard. In other words, he's not going to answer that. If you think about it, anchor bias is why the South fought for slavery. That's what they knew. They didn't think it was weird. That was what they grew up with. So coaches that grew up with the old school stuff, they can't help it. But I'm presenting some things that are different. I think when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. The majority is often wrong. And most schools still coach sports the old way, where they're trying to work kids to death and then work a little harder. If somebody asked me to define Feed the Cats, I'd say prioritize speed. That's the number one thing. Let's make every athlete faster. You're probably thinking, wait, my kid's a golfer. What about him? I'll get to that. I promise, I'll get to that. If I had 37 words to define Feed the Cats, I'd say sprint, record, rank, and publish, sprint before lifting, not after. Never let today ruin tomorrow. Accept rest and recovery to create performance level outputs in practice. What? We're going to perform in practice? Yes, we are. We're going to perform in practice. Stop doing stuff that makes you slow and make practice the best part of a kid's day. I don't know about you, but that was not the type of sports I went through. I didn't go through that. Good friend of mine at TCU, he's a baseball S&C guy. He says that workouts should be fresh, fast, frequent, fun. Once again, that's different. Most coaches, they want to put their kids through really hard, miserable stuff. But that doesn't make you a better athlete. So there's two good reasons why you should feed the cats. One is it wins. If it did not win, I would not be here. I mean, we're all about winning. If this is not like every kid gets a trophy, this is not some woke stuff. No, this is hard-nosed winning. When I started feeding cats in 1999, my 4x1 won the state meet 4 out of the next 5 years and set 2 state records. Some people think cats must be black athletes. These guys they got sunburned. They were pale. But they're fast because they're trained to be fast. Now, I've coached some pretty good guys. Marcellus Moore I've coached. He's got 8th in the USA meet in Eugene at the age of 23. He's really You say, well, yeah, anybody could have one fast guy. That's true. Anybody could have one fast guy. But these 3 guys are all professionals, and they came from Feed the Cats programs. What does this mean? That means they never run a lap in practice. Their hardest practice was 3 200s spiked up with 4-minute rest. And all 3 of these guys are absolutely crazy great athletes. None of them were shortchanged about doing less, but doing it better. Hundreds of football programs now feed the cats. I just got back Friday from Houston Second Baptist High School. I did 8 hours of presentations without a break. Texas is now a hotbed for Feed the Cats football. You wouldn't think that because most Texas is like hard-nosed, we do it Texas way. No, they're doing it the way a track coach from Illinois taught them how to do it. This guy coaches Division III football. Since Feeding the Cats, he's 57-6. It's interesting to note his first 4 practices will be 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, and a day off. You guys that played football in high school, is that the way you guys practiced the first 4 days? No, you were like triple sessions or something. I was at a school in Tennessee where we slept on the gym floor on mattresses and then had triple sessions the next day for 6 straight days. That's like traditional stuff. He's going 57-6, third best Division III school in the nation, doing it the other way. Enterprise, Alabama won a basketball championship, state of Alabama. Princeton Tigers lacrosse, they call it Feed the Tigers because they're the Princeton Tigers. Made the Final Four for the first time in 18 years, lacrosse. The Yankees fed the Cats starting in 2022. So this is something that's kind of caught on because it's different. And coaches love it, and athletes love it, and it wins. The other thing is joy. This is my son who could dunk a basketball in the 8th grade. If you don't know, that's really good. I was really looking forward to him being one of my star track athletes. And he said, Dad, I'm going to play baseball because track sucks. That was in 1999. That's when I changed everything. We stopped running. All we did was sprint and jump. And we got better results. I did it so I could attract cats to my program like my son, which worked. What I didn't realize was that we'd be better in everything, because speed is the tide that lifts all boats. When coaches make practice the best part of a kid's day, really cool things happen. The kids love practice. All of a sudden they're enthusiastic. They're not coming in, Coach, what do we have to do today? They're coming in bouncy. What we got going on today, Coach? They're excited. Before you know it, they start saying, I love track, or I love football. This is my favorite sport. And that inspires coaches to become better coaches. This is what I talk to teachers about. If you're teaching a miserable class, guess how you're going to feel? Are you going to be a good teacher if you're miserable? The only thing you can do as a teacher is to bring it every day. Caffeine, whatever it takes, you bring it every day. And eventually your kids will reflect you. Steve Jobs said if you're working on something you love, you feel pulled. You don't have to be pushed. Old school coaches always pushed and cussed kids and punished kids to get them to do what they wanted them to do. New school coaches, smart ones, are not doing that anymore. This is an amazing thing. We started doing this in 2009 where we'd run through a gauntlet of our friends and we would time the sprint. We found that 62% of the guys twice a year for the last, 16 years, 62% ran faster than they've ever run in their entire life. That looks fun. It is. It is fun. Imagine that compared to running a mile and being yelled at by your coach. Just saying. So the two reasons why you feed the cats, 2 3-letter words, win and joy. Sometimes I think joy should be first. No. Winning's first. We're all about winning. I don't think there's much joy when you lose. So how are we going to do it? Number one, we're going to make practice the best part of a kid's day. When I was a chemistry teacher, I told my kids that chemistry is going to be your favorite class and I'm going to be your favorite teacher. Smartest thing I ever did. And then I'd juggle fire. That's not photoshopped. I was very irresponsible in terms of the things we did in chemistry. Whatever it took to get kids to lean in, to buy in, to love what we're doing, I'm doing it. If we're teaching some boring stuff that had to be taught, I'd say we'll blow something up on Friday. They would go through anything. Hey, Coach, it's Friday. We set off the fire alarm 7 times in 8 years. It started to piss me off, though, because, like they'd burn the bacon and cooking or something, and we'd all have to walk out, because the fire alarm, and everybody'd be pointing at me. It wasn't me. Number 2, dopamine. This is a dopamine, I'm a chemistry guy. This is a dopamine structural chemical right here. There's 3 ways of getting dopamine. Dopamine, by the way, allows you to move your arms and legs fast and gives you great reckless confidence, things athletes need. There's 3 ways of getting it. 2 of them are on my shirt. One's the moon, sleep, and one's the sun, get outside. Sunshine's really important. 90% of the best sprinters in the entire state of Illinois at the high school level are from 4 states. And they ain't in the north. California, Georgia, Florida, Texas. And it's not because their coaches are better. They're only better than we are in the sprints. That's because of sunshine and dopamine. So we don't have much sunshine, so we better sleep. So this is my shirt. The third thing that increases dopamine is winning. And winning does not have to be winning a championship. Winning can be a small win during your day. So this is what I teach my guys. If you want to start the day with some dopamine hits, this is what you can do. Number 1, make your bed. See a bunch of mothers saying, hell yeah, right? Make your bed, that's a win. Matter of fact, make your bed and then tell your mom you made your bed. Number 2, shower. Showering is a performance enhancer. I do not allow any of our guys, when we travel, like to Belleville West for a track meet, we always shower at the Super 8 before we go to the meet. Because you won't run as fast if you don't shower. So showering is a win. Then you need to drink 2 glasses of water. That's a win. And then you eat like a man or an adult. How you do that? No kid stuff. No Pop-Tarts, right? You eat eggs and bacon and sausage, or you drink a protein shake. Eat like a man. So you're 4-0 before you go to school. You might actually continue that winning streak all through the school day. And you got a little bounce going because you're a winner. And then when you go to bed at night, you're reminded that you're a winner because your bed is made. Right? Isn't that great? Number 3, never let today ruin tomorrow. Hormesis says that this is really a pharmacological thing, like with drugs and stuff. Like Paracelsus 500 years ago said, everything is a poison, nothing is a poison, it all depends on the dosage. You know that all medicines are poisons? You know that? 2 aspirin cures a headache, 100 suicide, right? We need to start seeing training the same way. There's a certain amount of training that's beneficial, too much kills us. Not good. Shows 200 years ago, so for every substance, small doses stimulate, I like that, stimulate. Moderate doses inhibit, large doses kill. I know the young people don't know anything about this, but tequila is like this. You know, your parents might drink a shot of tequila and be have a little more personality or something. 3 shots, not as much. 6, and they really regret it. Training should be the same way. Small doses stimulate. This is the hormesis curve. There comes a point of diminishing returns. This is what my dad always said, that we practice 2 hours because if we went 4 hours, I would crush everybody. It would be a bad practice. So you always want to be on the beneficial side of that curve. You don't want to take 100 aspirin or drink 6 shots of tequila. You know, that's a crime, isn't it? That's a crime. That's what coaches do to kids. They burn the stake. I love this saying. We want to get to the first game, the starting line, the competition, whatever you call it, 80% in shape. Coaches are like, no, we want to be 110% in shape. No, 80% in shape, 100% healthy. Not the other way around. You've got to be healthy to be good. You can't be limping and be a good football player or a good volleyball player or a good basketball player. But men are different. Men buy this poster because it makes them tingle. It's like, yeah, I wish I was pulling that sled through the snow. There's something about the DNA of men that really, really like being worked hard. But hard work is not winning. Winning is winning. My good friend Les Bellman says you make a profit every day, you never go broke. That's our goal in sports as well, make a profit every day. When I was younger and irresponsible, I would take $100 that I should not have had to the craps table and try to turn it into 1,000. Have you ever done that? Don't. You'll be at the ATM in 15 minutes wondering how you're going to tell your wife that you lost everything, and we're not going to have groceries next week. But coaches do this all the time, and the sad thing is that every time I ever gambled, I would be ahead by $40, $50, and I wasn't disciplined enough to walk out. Well, coaches aren't disciplined enough sometimes to make a profit and go home. This T-shirt was sold, I believe it sold 1.5 million copies, or T-shirts. Well, I have a T-shirt that I believe in that is yet to sell a single, I'm kidding you not, my T-shirt is for sale on Bonfire and is yet to sell any. It's just, for some reason, nobody has the guts to wear this shirt, but I believe this. I believe this because When you grind something, you crush things into powder and small. We don't want to crush kids. We don't want to worship the grind. And by the way, the noun, the grind, if you look it up, I swear to God, it says hard dull work. Hard dull work. I don't look forward to hard dull work. So I don't worship the grind. I get in trouble for this. They say I'm talking bad about hard work. No, I'm redefining hard work. I'm redefining hard work. Because I think we're in the business of winning. And I think that I would rather have kids perform highly than to be tired. Call me crazy. Number 4, speed is the tide that lifts all boats. As we get faster, we get better at everything we do. Everything. My friend Brian Kula is famous because he's trained Christian McCaffrey since he was like 13. McCaffrey's trainer is Brian Kula, good friend of mine. Well, 2 golfers came to him to be trained. They thought they'd be swinging like heavy clubs and things. He said, no, we're going to train you like Christian. They say, Coach Kula, in golf, I don't know if you know how to golf, but we don't sprint, and we don't lift heavy things, and we don't jump, and we don't bounce. He said, trust me. So he trained them like McCaffrey. They got 2 miles an hour faster sprinting. Their club speed got 15 miles an hour faster. Speed is the tide that lifts all boats. Speed is global. As you get faster, you jump higher. You jump further. You're lighter on your feet. You're better at changing directions. And believe it or not, you get healthier. I'm training an 82-year-old woman in California that runs a 39-second 200, second in the world. It's a fountain of youth. I swear she looks 72. This guy hits a golf ball further than anybody in the world. And his secret is sprinting. His secret is sprinting. Now, I don't know if you remember the old school golfers, like Nicklaus and Trevino. Those guys never won a race in their life. They had like beer bellies. Modern golfers are terrific athletes. Terrific athletes. But soccer players like, Coach, we have to focus on endurance because we run like 7 miles sometimes in the game. I said, tell me about your best player. Describe your best player. First 2 words are always the same. Fast, explosive. You know what running 10 miles a day will do to speed and explosiveness? I know. They won't jump as high. They won't run as fast. Let the game train the game. Away from the game, train athleticism. Mark Ellis was the guy at Princeton through the lacrosse program. He said, we want speed, we don't want the fastest milers. The best lacrosse players are fast, athletic, explosive athletes. Number 5, tired's the enemy, not the goal. I love this slide because these are the best athletes in the world. Decathletes at the Olympics. Decathletes. They are in horrible physical shape to do the 10th event, which is like the mile, 1,500 meters. They intentionally fail to train for the endurance race because the other 9 things are speed power events. If you go out and run 10 miles a day, do you throw the shot put as far? No way. Do you run as fast? Nope. Do you jump as high, jump as far? Nope, nope. So they are highly trained for 9 events, and then they just gut it out and look like this after their endurance event. They still run pretty good because they're great athletes. If you do a lot of jogging, you detrain sprint technique. As a sprint coach, I look at that and I want to throw up. Like, oh my God, those guys are so slow. They're training to be slow. When you do too much conditioning, guys check out. They're long in the back. They don't get big in the front. They don't look like sprinters anymore. They look like guys that want to go home. Feed the cats. Teams don't condition. What? Oh, they practice hard, though. And guess what that does for the game? Gets you ready to play the game. At the NFL Combine, one of these things don't happen. The 40 happens. Bench press, vertical jump, broad jump, the 2 agility drills. But this last thing, they don't care if you can run 3 miles or not. Those other things make you a good player. Now, back in the day, they'd run this guy 3 miles just because it was hard. We're going to toughen him up. But he gets worse at all the other things by doing that. This is crazy to say, but Saquon Barkley called me a month before he signed with the Eagles. And I usually don't get calls from NFL running backs. But Saquon called me and said, Coach, I love your stuff. I want to know, I'm 26. I feel like I've lost a step, and I'm hurt all the time. What should I add to my workout? And I said, Saquon, you're not going to like my answer. I know how you work out. You need to subtract stuff from your workouts. You're doing way too much. You don't need to be squatting 700 pounds. He said, so instead of maybe running, he ran like 2 sets of 10 hundreds, like 20 hundreds for a sprint workout. Instead of that, should I just do like 5? I go, no, don't do any hundreds. Long pause, and he goes, Coach, I think I've been brainwashed. I said, we all have. We've all been brainwashed that more is better. So I texted him several times. That's an actual text between me and Saquon. I still can't believe it, but. And I would text, younger, leaner, faster. And that's the way he looked to me. He's never been faster than he was this year, because I got him set up with Brian Kula in California. They started doing 2 20-minute speed workouts every week. He continued to do that during the season, and he gained a max velocity that he's never had in his life. So at the age of 26, he was younger than he's ever been, faster than he's ever been. He had a pretty good year. He didn't send me any money or anything, but it's all right. I get to use this slide, and impress people. Okay, number 6, we're going to sprint. How do you train a cat? Go to sprint as fast as possible. That means we have to time you. If you're not timing, you're not sprinting. As often as possible. That's probably 2 times a week, 3 times at the max. Staying as fresh as possible. You cannot speed train if you're tired, mentally depressed, dragging. If you didn't sleep the night before, you're better off sleeping than training. That's how you get faster. That's how you train a cat. Too many coaches have always had practices where they go in 3rd gear because they're too tired to perform. Too tired. But moderate exercise does not lead to extreme results. Of course it doesn't. That kid ran 10:71 in the 100. I still don't know how. One sport athlete, 10:71. That's really fast. But speed training is extreme. These guys were the number 1 4x1 team in the state several years back, and they also never lost a fight. It's important to realize that you could go out and run these guys 10 miles every day, and it doesn't make them tougher. Matter of fact, they're probably not as tough because they're tired. Lombardi said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Of course it does. Take the toughest guy in the world and fight him when he's tired. You have a chance. No, these guys were fast and they were tough. We hand out wristbands for 20 miles an hour, 21, 22, 23. I know in your weight room, beautiful record boards. Everything is kept track of. People die for symbols. You know, like military stuff, you get a medal for charging the hill or something. Well, my kids will die for a wristband. They'll do whatever it takes. If I'm working with girls at 17, 18, 19, 20, but I don't coach girls. This is a fun thing. There's also a thing called the truck stick. This is, big guys. We want big guys. They used to call big guys like hogs. No, they're big cats. They're not hogs. They're big cats. We don't make fun of them being fat. Instead, we try to get them athletic. And so truck stick is where we take their weight and take it times their velocity. And we found if you do that and they're 600, they're pretty good. If they're 700, they're a starter. If they're 800, they're all conference at a school like this. If they're 1,100, they've already signed to go play college football. Because if you're great, big, and fast, you're a star. So we want to reward big guys who are fast and who get faster. That Tristan Wirfs I talked about earlier, I said 1,100, you're going to play anywhere you want to. Well, this is what a Hall of Fame offensive tackle looks like. Truck stick 1325. He can run 20.6 miles per hour, and he weighs 322 pounds. Best offensive tackle in football. By the way, three-sport athlete, 3-time heavyweight wrestling champion, state of Iowa, 5-time discus and shot state champion in Iowa. He didn't say, I want to play in the NFL. I'm only going to do football. I'm going to do football and lift. Heck no. My son at Edwardsville, Coach A.J. Epinesa, started 4 years in basketball, superstar. State record holder in the discus, 206. And then he's a pretty darn good football player. I watched him last night on Hard Knocks, catching a python in Florida. It was a good scene. Good scene. Number 7, we're going to perform in practice. This is huge. My pyramid, I think the old pyramid is work real hard, get real tired, and get tough. My pyramid is rest, recovery, sleep, nutrition, get healthy. Healthy mentally, get healthy physically. If you're not doing this, I don't think you're a good parent. I don't think you're a good teacher. I don't think you're a good athlete. You're not giving yourself a chance if you're not taking care of yourself. So number 1 is take care of yourself. Sleep is not soft. Then we do athletic things. Sprint, lift, jump, bounce. Is that specific to basketball? Football, soccer, golf? No, that is just athletic. Then the 3rd level is when you start shooting a basketball or swinging a club. So we let sports take care of the top part of the pyramid, and then we have to train in the weight room and on the track. We have to train speed and strength and those things. So apex predators, you sprint fast, you lift heavy, you jump high, jump far, and you bounce. That's how we get to be an apex predator. This is Marcellus. This is kind of fun. I just like watching this. We're actually in first place here, but this guy ends up passing my guy and makes Marcellus work for it a little bit. Marcellus never ran a lap in practice, never ran more than 200 meters in practice. His biggest workout was 3 times 200 meters. He ran 4 races on Friday, 4 on Saturday, set state records in 2 of those 4 events. On Saturday, he was not tired. In that, he was 5'6", weighed 149, and had braces. 15 years old. Now he's the 8th best guy in the United States. He's pretty good. The training that you do, I like to show this. This is McCaffrey working out. This is the type of Feed the Cats training that your kids are going to be doing with Coach Quinn over here. Everything they're doing is either an X factor exercise or sprinting. What you're not seeing is the recovery required in between these things to do this work at a high level. Everything he's doing is at a performance level. Another thing you will not see is him running laps or 30 minutes of stadium stairs. That's a lot of weight. That's Brian Kula working with him. You may wonder, like, seriously, golfers can train like this? Heck yeah, they're athletes. Everybody can train like this. Everybody can train like this. Oh. Okay, I wish I could play this, but the sound isn't working very well. But basically, this is Jim Carrey talking about the disease of more. I've seen it so many times, where he talks about, I'm Jim Carrey, I've won 2 Golden Globes, and when I go to sleep at night, I'm not just another guy getting some shut-eye. I'm Jim Carrey, the winner of 2 Golden Globes. And I don't dream any old dream. I dream about winning my 3rd Golden Globe, because then I would finally be enough. It's funny as hell. And the reason why it's funny is because we can relate to that. Everybody here, if you win 5 games, what do you want? You want to win number 6? If you win the first 2 games in the playoff, it's never enough. So what he says at the end is funny. He said if he would win his 3rd Golden Globe, then he could stop this terrible search for what I know will not ultimately fulfill me. That's funny, because nothing's going to fulfill us, right? We can win a state championship, and 30 minutes later you're thinking about winning your next one. So you will never be happy with what you have. For some reason, it got narrow on us. We're going to talk a little bit about inertia. Inertia is trying to go in the same direction. Trying to go in the same direction. We're almost done here, but this is kind of a cool thing that I want to show you. I need, let's see, we'll get 4 adults up here. Come on up here. I'm not going to do anything weird, I promise. Come on, Adam. Oh, yeah. Okay. We're good. Yeah, we just need like 4 or 5 people. Okay. This is, like, Roxanna can never afford this, because this is a very, very expensive thing. But this is an energy meter that, like, I have seen some professional athletes be able to light this up all by themselves. Just hold it at the bottom and see if you can light it up. No, you don't have it. No way. Coach Quinn, I thought you could. The cross-country guys, no way. So I'm going to just show you something that's really important, that if we really do pull together and all go in the same direction, magical things can happen. Just circle up here. Circle up and hold hands. And I know that's weird, but and we are going to put this, move around a little bit here so people can see. Okay? And we're going to connect. You two disconnect. Reconnect. This thing costs way too much for Roxanna High School. But I'm telling you, this is valuable stuff, because you can show people how important getting together is. Thank you, guys. There's real power in coming together, and I think that it's something that I would like to share, like a true confession. I talked about my son, Alec, who's now at Edwardsville. He was a fantastic basketball player, fantastic. And he had a coach that I hated for good reason. He was awful. He stole the joy of sports from kids. I hated him. And I was a good coach. You know, I said it was like a surgeon watching a barber do surgery on your kid. That's the way I felt. And I was every bit justified to criticize that coach, and I did. And I was wrong. Even though I was correct in my criticism, I killed my son's experience. If you have criticisms of your coach, I'm telling you, it's easy to criticize. Whether it's play calls in football or who's starting in basketball or something, it's hard to support the coach. But if you support the coach, your kid will have a better experience, and that team will win more games. You know, you can learn from your mistakes, or you can learn from the mistakes of others. I'm telling you, I made huge mistakes. I could write a book, and I might someday, about that 2004 year where my son quit the basketball team in January in spite of averaging 25 points a game. 25 points a game. And he quit the basketball team because of the coach situation. And my family moved to Tennessee. And looking back, it would have been the hardest thing I've ever done, but I should have said, Alec, that coach is doing the best job he can do. Play for him. Play for him. If you'll do that at Roxana, you'll be much better. The last thing, I just want to mention encouragement. Encourage means, is my favorite word, it means to give courage. This guy right here, a legendary basketball coach that was born in 1895, was a World War I veteran. He coached the Stephen Decatur Runnin' Reds, an epic school that's no longer open in Decatur. Kintner Gym, yes, named after Gay Kintner, held 4,600 people. Huff Gym at the University of Illinois, where they played at the time in the 50s, held 4,300. My dad was born to working poor, government housing. If he did not come home at night, nobody cared. He was kind of an Oliver Twist type of kid that probably missed out on a lot of school stuff because they moved a lot like poor people did. But in 1950, my dad, who tells me fought his way through his childhood and played ball. That's all he did. Fight and play. Well, my dad was at an open gym at Stephen Decatur High School, and Gay Kintner saw him playing, and Gay must have been a little bit impressed because he went over and handed my dad a basketball and said, "Holler, wear this thing out. You're going to be one of my great ones." It was the first man that had ever encouraged my dad. Ever, ever, ever. That's what sports can do. In 1950, his life was changed. He became a valued person. And then the second big thing that Gay Kintner did, my dad is a senior. I don't know if you know this, but in 1954, only 1 out of every 7 kids went to school, went to college. 1 out of every 7. 15% of graduating seniors went to college, and hardly any girls. Gay Kintner said, "Holler, where are you going to college?" He said, "Coach, I don't think you know, I'm not a very good student." Gay Kintner drove him across town to Millikan University and signed him up. My dad graduated in 4 years with a degree in history. He went on to coach 47 years. His favorite athletes were difficult kids, not the kids that were born well off. He loved working with kids that didn't have what other kids had, that reminded him of the street urchin that he was. Even better, by going to college, as a senior, he met a pretty freshman girl who was homecoming queen and valedictorian at Carmi High School, a small town in Southern Illinois. She became my mom. I was born when my mom was 20. She dropped out of school, married my dad, and the rest is history. My dad, this is weird stuff, but he always told me, he said, I want to die on the bench coaching, like my coach. I thought that was weird. Like, you have a death wish. You want to die as a... He goes, yeah, my coach died in the third quarter of a game against Decatur Eisenhower. Massive heart attack. By the time he got to the ambulance, Gay Kentner was dead. I saw an old newspaper article. Some woman said, there goes the greatest man this town has ever known. He died 3 days before my first birthday. I can only imagine what my dad felt. The combination of his only child, first child, he had 4 altogether, turning 1, but his coach being buried on the same day. But that's why he wanted to die on the bench. And so sometimes I feel like my dad was like a bridge between his coach and me. And maybe in my advancing age, I've become a bridge. And that makes me want to spread the good word of what coaching can be and what sports can be to kids. And don't ever, ever, ever underestimate the value of encouragement. And I hope that you support your coaches so they can have an impact. If your kids hate their coach, stuff like magic like this can't happen. But if you support your coaches, magic can happen. And they'll win, and it'll be a great year. Thank you so much. Good, man. Thanks, Coach.
Incredible message. Thank you, Coach Holly, for coming out tonight to show country, to share that with us. It's a great message to kick off our year as we embrace our athletes and look forward to some great things. Again, I appreciate it. One more round of applause for him. That was great. All right, as we wrap up here, we have a few breakout sessions. Coaches that would like to meet with some parents. We have girls golf. Coach Wright and I, where you at, Coach? There's Coach. He'll show you to his room if you don't know where you're going. He'll be out in the hallway. Cross country, Coach Scanlon, where you at? He was up here. He will show you to his room. They're going to meet. Football is going to meet stay here in the auditorium. Practices start tomorrow. If you open the PowerPoint up, you'll know the times and locations. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Welcome to another great year. Thank you.